Want to come in?
The Human Stain, 2003, starring Anthony Hopkins and Nicole Kidman. I gotta talk about this movie. This is a movie from back in 2003. I saw on previews and trailers, yes, and I stood away from the film. I thought it was really a sexualized film, something that was not really up my alley. Starring Anthony Hopkins and Nicole Kidman, I was not really feeling the previews or what they showed, and I didn't do any more research into this film. Believe that or not, stood away from it. Recently saw this movie for the first time, The Human Stain. Took me 20 years, but I got there, and I'm so regretting not seeing this 20 years ago. This film, this performance by Mr. Hopkins is one of a kind. I love his performance, and he plays a man, very successful man, a boxer, what have you, man of all trades, that's accused of a bad thing, and it ruins his career. Nicole Kidman comes in his life years later, after a lot of tragedy for Mr. Hopkins and Nicole Kidman. She's 30, he's like in his 70s, as you can see. They come together, and Gary Sinise is in here as well, plays a friend of Hopkins who watches his life unfold here, and you're following Mr. Hopkins at his later life and his earlier life and the loves of his life, and he becomes the Human Stain, because Mr. Gary Sinise is an author as well, and he ends up befriending Mr. Hopkins and writes his life, basically his biography. Ed Harris is in this as well. What a performance, man. I just can't say enough about the Human Stain. I'm chills here. Chills are on me. This movie is a one-of-a-kind film. Of course, the title was probably very putting off. It was to me back then, but now that I've watched the movie, I understand why they call it this, The Human Stain, and so will you. Whatever you do, don't become a human stain, but if you're a stain, make sure no one can get you out. Oh, boy.